Hello, eRank. Welcome to another Thursday live Q&A with me, Pam Duffy, and her, I did her, Starla Moore. We're here every Thursday in Facebook and YouTube to answer all your Etsy and eRank related questions. And I will throw it before I totally forget, because Debbie messaged me and asked me to remind everybody. Could everybody please make sure that they are on the most current version of their browsers that they're using, because we are seeing some issues with that. So make sure and update your browsers if you haven't already. I don't think that's an announcement we've given before. So Debbie, I remembered. Yeah, sorry. Hi, Stella.
Oh, you're totally fine. Did anybody else see us freeze, or was that just me? I was like looking to see if I guess you don't have the screen up over there. He's monitoring the chat.
You glitched for a moment, but
yeah, we just like completely froze for a second. I was trying to figure out if we actually froze or if if it's just on my end. All right. So we had all kinds of cool stuff take place this week. Well, I thought it was cool. For those who saw the video. Yeah, Pam and I made some pretty cool videos about this big Etsy buyer data survey that we did at eRank. So this was a way for us to kind of dive into the minds of actual customers who were shopping. And, you know, it's easy enough to figure out what sellers are doing, but when you're working with actual or trying to figure out what actual customers are doing, it gets a little bit trickier. So if you guys are interested in that, I will go ahead and pop mine and Pam's links into both of the Facebook chat and the YouTube chat. Mine covers what is most important to your Etsy buyers. Basically, the things that they say are important to them or not as important to them. And then Pam, she covered things that are going to help with buyer trust and the things that customers said will help them to trust you more. So I thought that that was really, really cool. I hope that you guys can learn a lot from those videos, because we do hope to keep making them, but be sure to let us know in the comments if you enjoy them, or if you have any other things that you'd like us to add to next year's survey.
Exactly. Because of how you guys responded to it last year, it allowed us to be able to do it this year to convince Anthony. I think he was very excited about it, actually. But it allows us to keep doing these, because these surveys are like a big deal to get done and everything. So the more you like it and the more you interact with it, all lets us do it next year. We still have a ton of data from these questions. We still have a load more questions to cover, but as Starla said, if there's things you want to know from your buyer, drop onto our videos or ask in eRank and everything, and tell us what you want us to ask the customers. We might have already asked them, and we might be getting to that.
Yeah, filters are the big thing that everybody has been asking about. If we can learn more about what if they use filters, what filters they use. So I brought that up with Anthony, and he loved that idea. So hopefully we can
yeah, that would be really handy to know. That's just about every time we're talking about Google stuff and everything. I'm like, Anthony, can we find out what filters they were using? It's like, no, still can't do that.
yeah. Awesome. Everybody seems to like the video. A couple people did say that it was glitchy, a bit choppy. Give me 1 second.
Oh dear, it's Starla's turn to be technical.
No, everybody's saying that it's glitchy and choppy. It's glitchy and choppy on my end as well. I'm going to just do the Facebook stream on my phone and see if it looks okay, because that's YouTube I can see, but the Facebook one is the one that's constantly glitching for me. So you guys who are on Facebook will have to let us know if it's glitchy for you. Let me pull it up.
Isn't technology lovely?
All right. I'm just going to kind of keep an eye on it for a second. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get into it. We did have quite a few questions submitted yesterday. So for those of you who are afraid that you're not going to be able to make it live, or if you live in a different time zone, there is a post that is always posted at the top of the eRank group on Wednesdays. However, we have talked about getting rid of it just because we've had so many people join these live streams through YouTube and Facebook. So for now, we'll keep them going on these, Wednesday early access posts. But if for any reason we start getting flooded with tons and tons of comments, we might end up doing away with those. So, but for now, we do have them. That way you can get your questions in early and we can make sure that we answer them for you, even if you can't make it live. So the first question is one that we keep getting a lot, and we've answered it on past live streams. But you might have noticed that is it just the listing on it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Just listing on it? Yeah. The number of items sold is gone. Basically, Anthony met with someone at Etsy and gave them a tour of eRank to see how we could work with them in the future. We always want to buddy up with Etsy and see if we can develop anything cool together. And they didn't tell us to get rid of that data, but they didn't seem happy that it was there. They didn't seem unhappy, but they didn't seem like it was something that they wanted shared. Anything related to sales, basically. They didn't ask us to get rid of it, but we figure, you know what? If there is any potential for us to create better tools by being, friends with Etsy, then we should just go ahead and get rid of it. And I know that a lot of people are upset that it's gone, but in the long term, I think that this is going to result in better tools for eRank. So yeah, that's why it's not there. And I know that you want it back, but unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen. Was more of it was more of something that we wanted to do in order to keep goodwill and happiness between us and Etsy. So
And bear in mind, although it was cool and the team had worked on it and checked it was as accurate as possible, it was just an estimate. It was our algorithm. So that was kind of annoying. Some people going, this isn't accurate, because for some shops it wouldn't have been accurate and for others it was accurate. So sometimes we can have these great ideas, but it doesn't necessarily pan out as good in reality. And also, kind of people don't necessarily use it as much as we thought as well. So it's not a brainer not to not bite the hand of Etsy when we can work with them hopefully a bit better rather than make them angry for a tool that wasn't doing great. Oh, I see Linda asking what went away. It was the estimated sales for your competitors in the listing audit tool. It was a little thing we launched just before Christmas, and then we took it away again, I'm afraid.
yeah. Okay. So next one was from Lynn. Let's see. I would like to hear your thoughts and advice about promoting your shop and products in different Facebook groups in a subtle and non-salesy way. Following your advice, I'm planning to post my mainly good, useful contents and only occasionally post promotional contents, like having a sale on weekends and holidays, in my Facebook business page. Considering this, would you advise to use my shop's entire name? Okay, wait. Let's start with the first one. Here are thoughts about promoting your shop and products in different Facebook groups in a subtle and non-salesy way. It entirely depends on the type of Facebook group. I don't see a lot of success from people posting their product in like Etsy promote groups because it's all sellers in there and there's nobody shopping. The most successful posts that I see from Etsy sellers are, for example, I'm in a group about Shiba Inus because I have a Shiba Inu on the couch over there. And Shiba Inu owners, they want to buy products with pictures of Shiba Inus on them. And 99% of the posts in that group are people posting about their dogs, asking for advice, asking for tips. What do you feed them? Here's this cool toy I bought, yada, yada. And every once in a while, someone will pop in and say, hey, I made this cool needle felted Shiba Inu. And, everybody will be like, oh, where can I buy one? I love it. But that's because this person who makes, needle felted Shiba Inus, or maybe a Shiba Inu mug, they have gotten into a group that is perfect for what they're selling specifically. And they also have gotten permission from the admins of the group. So you also don't want to jump into a group and just start spamming things when, maybe the group has rules against that. So it entirely depends, because I definitely do see a lot of success from people who find the perfect niche and they find a Facebook
Yeah.
group associated with it.
I'll tell you where, because oddly enough, I needle felt Shiba Inus,
Yeah.
and I'll tell you the place where I get the most success, and that's when I sell to somebody who's in those Shiba Inu groups and they post that they got this fab thing. That's the best way.
Yeah.
So that is if Starla has great videos on branding and finding your niche and things. That's the thing of you finding your niche. I know there's certain breeds of dogs, corgis, Shiba Inus, pugs, that have an avid following of people. So if I make those, the right people will buy them. That's it's a it's a slow burning business strategy, but it's way better than I I can't see a whole point of planning weekend and holiday sales and posting them even on a semi-regular basis in these groups. Like Starla says, it's a real occasional thing. It's more important to be in these groups. Like, I would use that more as customer research. What do they love about their dogs? What are the color ways of the animals they like best? What are they not finding products that they would really like? What other uses would they like to use for them? And be in that group and be the helpful person. And some people will go to your Facebook page and have a look. I think from the way the question was going, you were planning to use your business page to interact with the groups.
Yeah, she asked about posting from her business page to her business page,
Mhm.
and not doing things too salesy. I'm a little confused if you mean posting in other Facebook groups from your business page, like Pam said, or if this is a separate question and you're asking about posting on your business page, because you keep talking about only posting your products and on weekends and holidays, and then posting non-promotional content on the weekdays. Definitely don't think of your business page like that. If I followed McDonald's and they were posting tips about how to, make cheeseburgers, that's not why I would follow McDonald's. I would follow McDonald's to learn about what they make. I would want to. I'm following them because I want to eat their food, not make my own. Same with if I was following a jewelry company like Tiffany and Co. I'm not going to follow Tiffany and Co. to hear cool tips. I'm going to follow Tiffany and Co. to see beautiful pictures of their jewelry. Now, while you can do adjacent things to your niche, like for example, Pam does needle felted dogs. If every Tuesday she gave a tip about dog training, for example, because it ties in, that would make sense. But yes, while we do say don't just sell, 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 don't be afraid of spamming on your own page. That's your real estate. If you should definitely try to balance what you're selling with other things that your niche is interested in, or things that are adjacent to your niche. Um, and when we say don't sell, 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 we don't mean say, look at my product, look at my product, look at my product. You could post a photo of your product and say that I created this necklace last weekend after watching a documentary about the history of mermaids. I learned this really cool thing about, mermaids. What do you guys think about this cool thing? You can still post about your products but start meaningful discussions and try to connect to your audience rather than just putting a photo and a link to buy it. It's all about balance.
Yeah. I I don't, well, Pinterest is probably about the only place, but of all the other social media places, I don't think any of them are going to be mad keen if every single one of your posts from your business page has a link out. That's not what people like. If people are on Facebook, they're on Facebook. If they're on Instagram, they're on Instagram. So, yeah, if you're saying on your business page, I wouldn't, I suppose it's not a horrible strategy to post on the weekends and holidays with a link to your shop, and your weekday content is, I was watching this and look, it inspired me to this beautiful thing. Here's what's on the workbench for today that I'm creating today. Loads of things. It is something that people make the mistake on social media in their business page, is they just try and spam, go to my shop, look, I've made this, click on the link, do this, do the engage with them, ask them questions, and see which kind of posts they're responding to the most. With the Shiba Inu example, ask people what funny things their dog does. You can ask for cute pictures of their dog. I mean, I get the best engagement when I've run out of ideas of what I want to make, which doesn't happen anymore, but in the past it used to. I would post and say, let me see your dog. Let me have a go. Give me some ideas for breeds of dog that I should make. Actually, I see Amber Marie do that all the time. It's like, I want to see this breed. Let me see. And everyone's like, here, see my dog. See my dog that's not even the breed that you asked for, but I like posting pictures of my dog. And the great thing is, if on a business page, you get that level of engagement with people going, yeah, I want to post in this post because it's super relevant to me, then the social media, that grows your social media. So yeah, that's a good community type post.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answered that person's question, but hopefully it answered some people's questions.
Um, are you Lynn? Are you also Tina on Facebook? Because it looks like she said, I'm planning to post non-salesy contents to my niche related Facebook groups from my Facebook business page. So
Right. So you're
yeah,
going to interact as your business page.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I would say in that, to be perfectly honest, you probably don't want to post like links at all or very often at all, because people can go to your business page. It's like every post you make. Now, some groups won't even let you in with a business page, but if you go in, they will be wary that you want to be spamming. So go in and be helpful, be lovely, be the friend, enjoy hanging out in those groups, and people will get to like you. And if people are interested, they'll click through.
Yeah. And then she had also asked, she said, considering this, would you advise to use my shop's entire name with the words gift shop or use GS instead? Again, they're either going to let you into the group as a business page or they're not. And using GS instead, I mean, that just, that's a little, that would be confusing to me as somebody trying to follow your page.
Yeah.
They're
Is
either
your
going to let you in or they're not.
Yeah. Is your Etsy shop site name something something gift shop? Or are you thinking adding gift shop to your shop name
Yeah.
to make people know that that's what your business page is? Because you don't need to add that. People will figure it out.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. I'm confused by this one.
Sorry, can't help you.
Let's
Unless
see.
you're on something I can see.
On Facebook, let's see. Okay, second comment gives clarification here. The first one was section optional group related listings into section to help shoppers browse. So they copied and pasted. I
Yeah.
was like, what are you asking? For a long time, I cannot post any sections I created for my store. I get the above message on the screen. I have no idea what Etsy wants. This probably isn't a good question for the live stream. This is probably a question that you should take a screenshot of and post it in the group, because I'm not sure what you're asking so it's harder to visualize it by you copying and pasting the notice.
Yeah.
Maybe take a screenshot of what you're seeing and then post that in the group. And
Yeah, and it sounds like either potentially you're doing something wrong, but I don't think sections are that difficult. So it probably is a glitch with Etsy that you'll probably have to contact them. But yeah, this is probably start a thread in the Facebook group and let us see what's going on there.
Yeah. All right, let's see. We'll go ahead and grab one from YouTube, because I know that things are moving kind of quick, and we've still got 2 more from the Facebook group Wednesday post. But Jane over on YouTube said, I'm very new to eRank. I find it very confusing, which we're actually working on. In the next few weeks, we should have something else that will help you out. But where would be the best place to start with, or what would be the best thing to start with? Choosing what you want to do. Why are you at eRank? That's the most important thing. And usually right when you log into eRank, as long as you haven't selected to turn it off, we have a pretty little page that pops up that says, what would you like to accomplish today? I think is how it's worded.
Something like that, yes.
So if you want to research keywords, keyword optimize your listings, you can click on that and it'll take you right to the tool that you need. Etsy SEO just came out, and that literally is a step-by-step eRank guide. So I'll attempt to find a link to that.
You should have a link easily. Because this is Starla's latest thing that she started giving away free with her videos on Tuesday. So go and grab that. Also, Jane, I see you're asking on YouTube. I can't remember if you're in the Facebook group, but if you join the Facebook group, at the very top, there is guides where we're trying to put together helpful resources. It's not perfect, but there's some really good videos from a load of people that we like showing how they've used the tools and stuff. I think there's some from myself and Starla, but there's some from some other people that we've loved, and there's just some little step-by-step advice in there. And then the Facebook group is also the good place when you've done that accomplish page on eRank and you've decided, I get it. People come to eRank first of all and they're like, I heard this is the place to come to make more sales. What do I do to make more sales? Unfortunately, that's too broad a question. So if you can narrow it down and say, this is where I'm at with my shop. Can I get some help with this, or can I get some help with this tool? We're able to help you a lot more than just how do I get more sales? Because that's the very big question. Yeah. But as Starla said, everyone wants to keep their eyes peeled because we are working on some super hopefully exciting things. We have heard you, and we totally get it that people start and go, this is huge, this is confusing, what do we do? So we're hopefully working on making that easier.
Yeah. All right, let's see. And then Jane had also said, it seems I have no visibility, although I had one sell from Oz. I'm in the UK.
Do you just mean you're not seeing, it doesn't look like in your data that you're getting views from Australia? That can be the way that Etsy and Google Analytics shows data. You can't always see like small amounts of data, or I think Google Analytics doesn't show traffic coming from the app, and Etsy data isn't showing coming from Android. So people might have searched from there. But yes, if it's just very small amounts of people searching, you won't necessarily be able to dig into the data and see exactly everything about them. But hey, you got a sale. So no matter what the data is telling you, the sale is telling you that someone from Australia saw you. I think that's a problem. We all have it, but if you don't have much data, there's really not too much digging into it you can do. You've just got to sit back and wait till you get more data. It's really difficult when you you're seeing a couple of sales and going, where did this come from? But you don't want to analyze every individual sale. You want to analyze 100 sales to see the trend of 100 sales or something like that.
All right. The Weird World over on YouTube said, I make laser cut projects. Some projects are assembled together. What is the best video where you show this step by step, or a PDF file with the manual? But that is more difficult. That's not our profession. You're gonna have to probably find somebody who knows more about what you're asking. We work on the technical side of things like keyword optimization and getting your listings more traffic and marketing your listings. But when it comes to the specifics about making something or making your craft, we definitely don't know all the things about all of those things.
We don't know all the crafts, no. Yeah.
I do know a lot of crafts, just not all the crafts.
Yeah. Literally, when you said there, the weird world over on YouTube, I thought you were just calling the entirety of YouTube a weird, yeah, a weird world. And then I found the post. I was like, oh no, you mean that's an actual shop name? That's cool.
All right, I will pop back over to Facebook. For those of you who are just joining, I'm toggling between Facebook and YouTube. So if you don't see the question that I'm reading, that's why, but we are here and we will get to you. Lynn, let's see. I'm planning to start with Etsy, then hopefully upscale to Shopify later this year. Regarding branding, should I choose a neutral color and design theme if only about 20% of my products are for men and boys? I personally like girly colors and flowers, but I'm worried that the too girly colors and designs of the shop's brand/website might deter potential male buyers. My niche has both male and female members, but I think that a big part of buyers in my niche are women. Okay, keep this in mind. Most, and I don't know what you make specifically, you didn't share that, but you also have to consider that though some of your products are for men, are they buying those things for themselves, or are women buying them for men as gifts? Which I think a lot of Etsy, because Etsy is mostly female shoppers, though we have seen a big increase in male shoppers on Etsy, but it is mostly female. A lot of them are buying things for men. Therefore, your branding, it definitely should reflect who you're trying to sell to. But in terms of what you're choosing for your branding, you can absolutely go right down the middle and still make your brand, have some personality to it. I mean, Tiffany and Co., they've got, very pretty blue and white branding, but they make products for men as well. And their branding is just very clean. It's not neutral colors. I mean, it's their iconic blue and white. I think that branding is something that you need to do based on who your target audience is and who the majority are. And honestly, I don't think that branding really scares. It's not going to deter. If a man sees a product that is, for a man in your shop, I don't think they're going to see that you have a flower on your logo and then suddenly want the product less.
Yeah, I mean, it depends what your item is. If you have an entire shop of big manly power tools and you're wanting to do twee cute flowery logos, there might be a bit of a disconnect there. But if your logo, if what you're aiming for your branding visually is on the right feel for the kind of stuff you make, it doesn't have to be exactly. And bear in mind, your niche is not, I can sell this to everybody. Your niche is, who is these loyal people who are going to keep coming back and buy your stuff for all their friends and family and stuff. 20% of the guys that are coming in, as Starla says, they're not going to be turned off by the branding, but sorry boys, but they're not important enough for you to be putting your focus to pull all your branding away to be like, oh, I have to make it inclusive for boys. Boys can buy things that have a flowery logo on. That's no problem at all. Think of your niche is not all the people I can sell to, but this small group of all the people that are the avid friends, the avid fans that are really going to love it. And the more you can appeal strongly to that one group, the more avid they'll be, and then they'll bring their boyfriends and other people will come in along with them, basically. Yeah, I think that's the thing that people mistake about branding for their niche and everything. Your niche isn't. I spoke about the pooping unicorn a few weeks ago. I'm not going to totally go into it, but almost everybody in the world goes to the toilet. When they were branding a stool for a step stool, not an actual stool, what we're talking about. When they were branding a step stool, they didn't say, what's our brand? We've got to appeal because everybody poops. So we've got to appeal to the whole world. They said, hey, let's make a thing that appeals to people who like furries. And all these people have friends and family and life and everything. And then, that totally spread out and went viral. So, yes. And I think if that's your aesthetic and you really love that, then probably your first niche is people like you. That's kind of an easier one to get into because people like you are in the social media groups that you are. They hang out in the places you are. They like the colors you like.
All right. Bruce over in the Facebook chat, he said, we sell a physical product and customers want to know what size items and how many pieces they need based on the number of guests attending their event. We have a simple calculator which would make this easy for customers. Should I create a free digital download for this item in my shop? This would be a great hook to get shoplookers more engaged with us. So you can't list something for free on Etsy, if that's specifically what you're asking. But what you can do, and what I would recommend you do, is you create an email list and you set that download up as something that they receive instantly through an automated email, which you can do with MailChimp. It's free up to 500 subscribers now. It used to be 2,000, now it's 500. But basically, you can put that link in your Etsy shop, which you're allowed to do. Etsy says we can have a mailing list, right? And you can say that they can get that digital download instantly. They sign up. Then you now have their email address so that you can market to them in the future because they've already shown interest in your products, right? This is how all businesses, gather leads for marketing. If you've ever been on a website and you get a pop-up that says, oh, do you want to save 30% right now? Enter your email real quick and we'll send you a coupon code for your order. Like, yeah, heck yes, I want to save 30% off. Well, this is kind of your version of that, but you're giving them a way to figure out important information about, what they're going to need for their products. So I think that it's great. I think that's what I would personally do. And that'll also help you to be able to do more effective marketing because, social media accounts, if they're not actively engaging with you on social media, they're going to see less and less posts from you. Whereas when you send an email to your email list, you know that that's hitting their inbox. Not to mention, if something were to happen in your Etsy shop were ever to get shut down, you have the ability to tell all of those people who are on your email list, hey, we're not on Etsy anymore. We're now on this website, or we started our own website. So that would be the only realistic way to do it,
Yeah.
through Etsy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Trying to get people hooked into something that they can follow you and an email list is quite an easy thing. The other thing I will say is you can have that, but do you also have simpler listings? Because quite often people get turned off if things are too complicated. I know if this is big events, there will be times when it needs to be complicated, but also can you offer simple things? a package for a party of 6, but so they have things to click on. Because when they're in your shop, some people will click away and do your email list, but that's an extra step that will put some people off, and they'll say, oh, I can't be bothered waiting for that and figuring it all out. I'm going to go to this shop where I can just click and buy the thing. So I would always, a lot of people make their listings overly complicated and it puts people off, where quite often people want to say, I've got a party of 20, I want to buy 20 of that kind of thing. So if you can have the basics, simple listings, and say, for more complicated, go and get my calculator. Oh, we've lost to Starla, or she's resetting herself. It'd be kind of, is it for like weddings or parties or stuff? But yeah, totally. That is my thought. Hopefully Starla will be back with us in a second, so I can get more questions. But I'll see if I can find some here from Facebook. Oh, she's potentially back in 3, 2, 1. Hello. Hello, you're back. You're back in the room.
I don't know what happened.
I'm glad it's not always me.
I think Be Live is just being funky today. I'm having all kinds of issues.
Oh no.
All right. Let's see. Imperfect Workshop had asked over on YouTube. I have a listing that gets relatively good amount of views and favorites, and throughout the months, people have added it to their cart. Should I update my SEO to help improve visibility? Well, what you just said tells me that people are finding it.
Yeah, it's got good visibility. We always want more. Everybody wants more, but I would tinker with the ones that aren't getting the good amount of views and favorites. Perhaps look at why, if right, this depends what you mean by a relatively good amount of views. If you're saying my listing had 20 views and it's not had any sales, it's not had enough views. Do not think about your listing isn't working or something until it's had a few hundred views, and then you can maybe start to get some ideas on it. I think that was a difficult thing that we struggled with when we first came to Etsy, is sort of the number. It takes a while to build up the number of views, and you're thinking, oh, I've had 10 views, why haven't I had any sales? So yeah, leave it alone. If you've had thousands of views and no sales, then dig into it and look at what's wrong with it. And that's not, I wouldn't update the SEO. It's got good visibility, it's being seen. Look at what's wrong, what's putting people off taking that final step to buy it. If they're clicking on it, why are they not continuing to buy it? But be aware, if it's a big expensive item, they might have to click on it a few times, and your conversion will be much lower than if it's like a sticker.
Yeah, and start asking yourself questions like, okay, is there anything confusing about my listing? Are there not enough photos of my item? Is my thumbnail maybe just not as appealing as it could be? These are easy little changes that you can make without affecting your rank and search. If you're being found and your keywords aren't the issue, start playing with the other things, because if you discover that you had better results with the first thumbnail, you can always switch back. It's a quick thing where you can switch them out. It could just be a lack of information that the customer has. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. All right. Back over to YouTube. I used to have a bestseller for years, but over time there was a decline in sales. I was able to notice on eRank there was a general decline, which is understandable. My concern is the listing doesn't show up on the first 10 pages anymore. What can I do to help? eRank shows to be careful of making changes to the listing, so I'm confused.
Yeah, well, if it's dying, right, you're saying there's a general decline anyway. Are you saying there's a general decline on your listing, or there's a general decline on the keyword, which is very important? Yeah. I'd see how much you're talking about a decline on the keyword. If it's died away to nothing, then for that keyword, there's really no point fighting for something that's kind of, its trend's gone, if there aren't people there. But if it's still got some good enough traction, if customers are still interested in that keyword, and you're quite right, if you're not ranking in search, then you do kind of need to do something about it. I would look, if you use something like the keyword tool or the rank checker, you can scroll down and see what other listings are in search showing up at the top. And these give you an idea of what customers are really liking, because Etsy's going to show kind of the best ones ranking the highest, hopefully. So look, what are their photos like? What are their prices like? Is there something that's changed? What was your bestseller for years? I've got some bestsellers that the photos were from 2010. I know they're going to start dying soon because the photos are awful. When that happens, I know I'm just going to go in and change some photos. So is it something like that that's dated? Are the competition offering something slightly different, something slightly better, something cheaper, something more expensive, something personalized? What can you add just to try and be a little bit better? And there's nothing, if your listing is dropped out of search and it's not getting views or anything, you can't break it by tweaking it if it's already dead. That said, if it's depends over the time period. If you're saying over years, so you should be aware of the seasonality, but be aware, like a lot of people will go, oh no, it's August and I'm getting no sales just now, I'm going to tweak the life out of my listing, when there's nothing wrong with it. Just everyone was out in the park playing with their kids and they weren't shopping. So don't tweak things with a seasonality, but if you've dropped out of search and you're not getting views, you can't hurt your listing that's already broken.
Yeah. All right. Isabella asked, is it better to put one long descriptive title using keywords or shorter titles divided by commas that use all characters? I've been hearing a lot of people say that there's someone going around saying that you should use all the characters for your title, which is absolute bunk. And Etsy even tells us that short titles are preferred by customers, though from everything that we've, researched and experimented with at eRank, it doesn't seem to really matter. Etsy's saying this because the customers care, but in terms of the algorithm isn't saying, oh, your title is that's too long. That's one too many characters. We're not showing your listing to anyone. That's not quite how it works. The honest answer is that both work. And it's important for you to experiment with both and see the one that works for you. Doing a big, long title, as long as it's divided out in a way that looks nice and clean and isn't super confusing, like a big run-on sentence that is going to turn off your buyers, that's fine. Or if you can write a little short descriptive sentence about your product while using your keywords, that is fine too. Sometimes writing those keyword strings of, kind of messy, but they get the job done. Sometimes that is a lot less stressful and a lot less time consuming. And that's always what I opt for. Just seems a little easier. I've experimented with both though, and they both work.
That's it. The answer is to experiment, but there is no place in the algorithm that says, oh, Starla's listing has all the characters and the title has fully filled up the description and that's every single tag filled to the max. The algorithm isn't working like that. It doesn't care. Now, as we've spoke about with tags, it's kind of the same for titles. It's very unlikely that every single keyword that you've thought of for that listing is going to work for that listing. So it doesn't matter it doesn't really matter the other words you have in your title and tags, so long as that keyword that's working for your list or keywords are in the right place. The rest of it isn't hurting or helping. So you might find that over time, if you're seeing some of these tons of keywords that you've put in your title aren't working, and you feel your title looks a bit spammy, you could perhaps experiment with removing some of them, and it probably won't make a blind bit of difference. Or it might look a bit better to buyers. The only thing that puts me off the big stuffy titles is the companies that aren't on Etsy that do that are Wish, AliExpress, they're the ones that have these massive titles. So for me, it makes them feel a little bit spammy and cheap. But it's experimenting. But yeah, anyone that says you have to do this, this, and this, and use up all the characters, I don't know where they got that from, but it's not correct.
I've been hearing it a lot recently, so I think that somebody must have said it because I keep hearing it all the time. Isabella also asked, on eRank, does data unknown mean that there's not enough searches and clicks? No, it just means that we don't have that data and we're not going to try to guess. It could be a great keyword for all we know. It's just not a piece of data that's within our data set, and it happens every once in a while. Unfortunately, that's just the nature of data. Sometimes you don't have all of the answers. So rather than lie or try to guess what people are searching for, you will occasionally find little gaps. So test that keyword, because that might be a great keyword. Experiment with it, because you never know. Could just be something that's fallen through the cracks.
Yeah, I mean, quite often it likely will also be ones that there isn't enough data on, because
Mm-hmm.
if it's a massive keyword, we probably will have the data for
Yeah.
it. But yeah, there's never pretty much there's never an answer that isn't going to be test it and see.
Mm-hmm.
For the sake that you've got, what, 4 months on Etsy for paying 20 cents, experiment. It's the cheapest way you can test out these things. Seriously.
Yeah. All right. Yudi, what can we do to help those customers who have our products sitting down in their carts to move forward with their purchases? You go to their house and you beat on their door. No. Um, there's nothing that you can really do to make a customer with your item in their cart follow through with the purchase. People just occasionally use their carts to save products for later, and they might never buy. My cart's always full of stuff.
Yeah, Starla's one of those annoying shoppers that annoys all the sellers. I always feel bad, even when I'm just if someone said, "Oh, this thing isn't working," and I go and dive into someone's cart and like try and buy something from their shop and leave it in the cart. I always feel bad. I'm going like, "Oh no, that's probably someone sitting there having a notification going, someone's going to buy," and then I don't. So I don't do it. But yeah, everyone shops differently. You want to check that there's nothing massively off-putting in your listing. Like, I am sure people who put massive shipping prices onto tiny prices of their listing, trying to con people that way, they will likely get a lot of abandoned carts.
Mm-hmm.
So don't do anything scammy or a bit horrible. But if you're not doing anything like that, then it's just normal. There's nothing you can do. It's the same with people who favorite. It's the same with people that click on it. That people just do that. They're active on Etsy. It happens. I don't even look at notifications for all those kind of things. They're not. They're not particularly important, or they're
Yeah.
not worth worrying about, because there's nothing you can do about it unless you're aggressive like Starla and you're going to hammer down on their door and force them to press the button.
Jane asked, how long does it take a new shop to get data to show up on eRank?
Immediately. Connect your Etsy shop to eRank and we should be pulling whatever data you have. we should be there. If you mean a new competitor's shop to show up in some of the competitor pages, a brand new shop, it shouldn't take more than a couple of days, depending on where you're looking.
Yeah.
Their listings and everything should show up should show up as soon as they're active on Etsy. But something like the competitor sales, you're going to have to go in and start tracking them. And if they're brand new, it's likely that nobody started tracking them yet. So it'll start showing up from tonight, basically.
Let's see. Will eRank be adding other platforms such as Fair, Abound, and Tundra? Fair is the only one out of those that I've ever heard of.
Same,
Here's
yeah.
we can only add platforms where there is data, where there is enough data available for it to be worth it. The amount of data that we gather has to be worth it, basically. And last we checked with Fair, there wasn't enough. So
Exactly. Everyone wants to know an alternative to Etsy. I know we've all been here, and you want the data on it. And we can pretty much tell you there isn't data on it because there isn't enough data on it. And to me, that tells me enough that at the minute in time, there really isn't an equal competitor to what Etsy's doing. Unfortunately. Some people might do well on some of these other places. They can be like the really big fish in the really tiny puddle, but we don't have enough data to tell you on that.
yeah. All right. Man, Facebook on my side is completely like frozen up.
Oh, that is weird.
It's
Hopefully
I don't
everything's all right for you guys, but
yeah, I don't know what's going on today. It just like completely stops. Let us know if it's freezing up for you guys.
and if
Um
you are struggling, well, we've only got 10 minutes, but remember we're also always on YouTube as well just now. So
yeah, I don't know. Do you have the eRank group up over there? Yeah, could you maybe just let me know if it's freezing over there? It's freezing real bad over here. Just you don't need to worry about the sound or anything.
I
Linda
daren't
over on
open it on my side.
yeah, I know Pam can't open it. Looks like it's running for me. Is it running okay? Okay. Can you see what it's doing over here? It's just being weird. Maybe it's my computer. Linda on Facebook asked, Starla, you recommended bullet points at one time. Now that Etsy looks at descriptions more closely, what are your thoughts on doing that at the top of the description? Etsy's not really looking at descriptions very closely. From everything that we've kind of researched. They like, from what we've seen, they are basically just using your descriptions as an extra layer of reinforcement in order to kind of see that the same keywords that you want to be known for are being repeated there. So whether you're making a clean little bulleted list, or you're writing it all out in a pretty paragraph, it doesn't seem to matter. Etsy's just kind of checking to see if you're using the same terms repeatedly. So I think that the bulleted lists are great because they can let your customers just kind of glance.
That's it. The description's for the customer first and foremost, and something like a list is so much easier to use. None of the algorithms on Etsy, on Google, nowhere are they checking the grammar on your description in that kind of level of detail. If that helps make whatever you've written more understandable for the person that's reading it, then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the description, the weight of descriptions is very tiny as far as we've seen. Don't stress about it, but it's really good practice to make sure that you put in your keywords into the descriptions, because it doesn't take any time. Like, you're describing your item.
Okay, let's see. For those surveys, has anyone actually asked customers their preference about styled thumbnails versus the product on a plain white background? No. And the plain white background, we more talk about that because it's better for, it's not necessarily the customer. It's Etsy is starting to turn a little bit more like Amazon over the years, which Amazon, they're big on the white backgrounds. But now that Etsy is integrated with their visual search function, I just did a video a couple weeks ago where I actually linked somebody on TikTok who did the experiment where they took a picture of a little angel by itself, and Etsy did a pretty good job of pulling up other similar little statues, but then she did it on one of her kids like toys, and it ended up like giving her all these colorful results because it couldn't pull the angel out of the photo. So I think that, we could ask customers that, but customers, I don't think, are going to have much of an opinion
Yeah.
on those things.
But you can actually sort of ask customers what they like by looking at what's showing up in search.
Mhm.
Especially for the more broad keywords, don't go totally niche, but if you search for wedding ring, look at the things that are depending on what your niche is, obviously, look at the things that are showing up, like ranking high in search there. Those are the ones that the Etsy algorithm thinks people are more likely to buy. And it thinks they're more likely to buy from experience of what it's seen with other people. So if in your niche you're seeing all plain white backgrounds, that's what's working just now. If you're seeing the styled thumbnails, that's what's working just now. Although don't be afraid to experiment. I did that with my corgi bookmarks. I did some plain white backgrounds, I did some in a book, and I did some in a kind of set up sort of library looking thing. And it was the library looking thing, the styled picture, that's done best by a long way. But I have other things that do better with a plain white background. That's why my shop looks like a mess, because customers like different things.
Everybody gets so sick of us hearing us say experiment, experiment, experiment. But
Yep. I should
yeah,
make a little widget to go.
yeah.
In fact, we should have a sound effect. I don't know if I can do sound effects on here, but just experiment.
Let's see. On Etsy, what's the difference between views and visits? I have a video about that, actually.
Yep. I always muddle that up, but
I
Starla's
do.
video will clear it way better. But
Let me
think of the difference between a person, right? Tell me if I get it the right way around. If a person walks into a bricks and mortar store, that's one person has visited your shop. And if they go around and pick up 6 items from the shop, they've viewed 6 different items while they've had their one visit to your shop. I think that's the right way around. But it's basically, one is the number of actual unique people that have come in to your shop and visits, and the other is how, like, if they click through 6 or 7 different items.
You get one per item that is viewed.
Yep.
I went ahead and dropped that video. It's an old video, guys. It doesn't sound nearly as good as my new videos do. Maybe I'll reboot that one, but I put it in the chat.
Do you dance at the end? That's the most
No,
important thing.
I
So
do not. The
no,
dancing
you
is
need a new one then, because everyone now knows that you're dancing in the quiet by yourself. So
yeah. All right. We're down to our last minute, and there is no possible way we'll be able to get through the last of the remaining questions, which is a good thing, because that means that you guys are sure to come back next week. But we'll go ahead and let's get one more. Let's see. I heard that if your all stores, all listings, tags, and titles will not be catchy and fixed until that your store's rank will not increase. Is that true? I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Maybe that was I picked the wrong last question, didn't I?
well, you've put, all I'm thinking catchy would be saying, like, if your titles aren't catchy as in appealing to a buyer, which is important, your tags being appealing to a buyer aren't all that important, because sometimes you can't see the tags. Most of the time they're down the bottom of the shop. Tags aren't really for customers. Tags are the one few things that aren't actually for customers. So they don't have to be catchy. They just have to tell the algorithm, this is what my item is.
Yeah. All right, guys. For those who didn't get answers to your questions, feel free to post those in the eRank group. That's going to be linked down below for those of you who are on YouTube. But for everybody else who's in the eRank group, if you want an answer to that today, post it, because either Pam or Debbie or one of the many, many eRank group members will get back with you. There are a ton of them, and lots of them are very, very smart with lots and lots of sales and can give you amazing advice. So don't be afraid to ask for advice from other sellers as well. Or save your question for next week and arrive here at 3 p.m. Eastern and hang out with us live, because we can make sure that we get to your questions then.
Yeah, thank you
But
so much, guys. It is a good problem to have that we can't get through
yes,
your
finally.
questions.
Great.
And sorry if we didn't get to you, but we did our best.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. We'll see you next week.
Thank you so much.
Bye.